Hello there. My name's Mark, aka the Canardian. And Charlie, you're throwing me off already with that finger, man.
I know.
If anyone's not watching the video,
I can't. I'm so sorry. I had a hand surgery today. I had a little nodule removed from my right middle finger, and they have to do it up like this. So it's like world
constantly flipping the bird.
This is and how apropos to our episode, because this is about the angriest of angry Star Wars characters, kind of the focus of what we're talking about tonight. So
absolutely. So Charlie, other than the finger, how you doing?
I'm good. It's an interesting week. I'm on a liquid diet because my wife is having a procedure, and I said that she has to be on liquid diet, so I said I would do it with her, and that made me cranky as shit. So I had some General Tso's chicken tonight, and now I'm happier. And realizing that a guy who's 6'4" and 260 pounds really doesn't do a liquid diet unless he's stuck in prison somewhere and in solitary confinement. So live and learn.
Yeah, that's That's probably good. And if you decide to retweet that guess how tall I am thing that's going around, you just gave away your answer. So there we go. No. Anyone paying attention, you can guess that if Charlie jumps on that bandwagon. But yeah, that's it's good to hear. You're a good husband. You solidarity, even though you didn't quite make it through. The effort, I think. And
we've been doing it for a week, and I made some real drastic changes in my diet, and I feel a lot better, and I feel like I'm losing weight. Just like, with Solidarity, April is now in the other room playing Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga on her profile, because she's been playing on mine, but she wanted to do all the story mode by herself, so that's what's going on right now. She probably hear. I know she hears me talk about it, right, babe? Yes.
I was so close to double dipping on that game this week. It's on sale on Switch for anyone that didn't pick it up. I don't know if it's on sale elsewhere, but there's a decent little chunk taken off of the price on Switch, and I have it on Xbox right now.
Yeah.
And there's just something about Lego games that I love being able to have them on Switch, and you pick apart at them like brick by brick kind of thing. While you can watch things. You can watch the movies. You can watch just something, have something on in the background. And eventually I will double dip, but it's my little guy's birthday coming up this weekend, so I'm going to spoil him instead of spoiling myself.
There you go. The most fun thing in the game in particular is when you earn a brick, like by doing a puzzle or a quest or something. All the characters clap. Yay! When they get the brick. That's something April picked out. I'm like, oh.
It's pretty cute.
And then she and I, our celebration is when we get a brick, we make the characters twirl around in a circle. Woo, 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 woo. I don't, hey, just a little. It's the little things.
Well, enough about us and enough about Lego. We've got a special guest that we still haven't introduced. You might have seen him already if you're watching the video, or heard him chuckle a couple of times. But we have a very special returning guest. Because we're going to be talking about Maul, we had to get Mr. Maul himself.
The Mauler!
The guy behind Star Wars Shot for Shot. Robby, how you doing? Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. I'm glad to be here. We've already covered Phantom Menace, and now we're going to go into Maul. So you're really just hitting the spots you need to hit with me.
It's all
the greatest for the appropriate times.
Exactly, man. That's it. That's it. I mean, I have absolutely no doubt that we could get you on any single episode talking about any single, especially the movies or whatever. You could hold your own. That's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe it.
I would hope so.
Someone that's gone through literally shot by shot of the Star Wars saga and is working their way through. I don't think you'd have a problem with any topic that I'm going to throw at you.
I'm really good at Easter eggs.
yeah, right.
Cool.
We might bring that. That's a good idea for some other time. But anytime we're talking about Maul, you're the guy that comes to mind. So I'm super excited to have you back. Since you already did your introduction last time, I don't think we have to go straight through. Hopefully people will have heard that or know a little bit about your Star Wars origin. But I do want to hear what's new and what's exciting in your world. The Star Wars Shot by Shot thing is just taken off. It's amazing for anyone not following it. Please tell people a little bit about that project and where to find it.
Yeah, so first of all, you can definitely find it on Twitter, and only on Twitter, because that is too much time for any other platform. Right. But yeah, last time I came on here, it was just in the early stages. Had a couple thousand followers. I think we were just getting into right around the the hangar in episode 1, trying to escape Naboo, probably right
Mhm.
around there.
It
And
was
now
early on.
we're chugging along through Revenge of the Sith right now. Like we've passed we're talking about Darth Plagueis right now in Revenge of the Sith, and it's skyrocketed in like the people that are interacting with it and following it. I hit my year end goal a couple weeks ago.
Holy shit!
So
Congrats, man. That's
I
amazing.
kind of thank you. I just kind of like have forgotten goals now. I'm just letting it do its thing at this point. I'm just gonna do my my routine, like going through everything, posting them, change up a little thing here and there maybe. But like other than that, I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I'm done with goals. I'm still gonna like talk about how I do. I just have fun with it. But
So
it's been a blast.
you can choose to say that's my secret here, and I will 100% respect that. But can you give us maybe a little insight of what goes into this project? Because I know it's a ton
I
of
talk
work.
about it all the time. Yeah.
So what kind of stuff for anyone that's not following it or might have just like has seen it on Twitter but doesn't really know the work? What goes into this?
So I'll take it like the quick rundown of it. I'll load the film into something to export it. I do every third frame usually, so I'll have the film be exported every third frame. The whole thing plays through, puts it into a folder. I then have to go through every third frame of the film and find like 1 to 4 frames from a specific shot that I like that are clear as they can be per what I'm given. And there's some I love going for the memes. I love finding funny reactions. I try not to like if it's like a back and forth like dialogue scene, I'll try and get like maybe like one photo will be with them with their mouth open, another one will be with their mouth closed. Like try and switch it up a little bit. But yeah, I'll sort through all the photos, and as I'm doing that, I number them along the way, so I know where I'm at. Like it's much easier to find it because otherwise it's just named whatever frame it is and forget
Right.
that. So I do that, and then I'll post 40 or I'll schedule posts 40 a day, usually on the account every 15 minutes from like 9:30 a.m. Eastern to
Wow.
7:15 p.m. So I want to have like a nice window, but I don't want it to clog your timeline. So I every 15 minutes. If I finish a movie like with a lot of like way earlier than I anticipate, like sorting through it, then I'll crank up the numbers, a little more frequency, a little more shots each day, and post on the weekends too. But for now, it's just 40 a day, 5 days a week.
I am. I'm
kind of runs itself.
Always trying to get better at Twitter, and I'm not sure that I'm following it, but I will be instamatically here. What's the handle again? One more time, my friend.
It's at SW shot by shot.
SW.
Usually, if you type in SWS, it's like the first thing.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's an incredibly impressive project, and
it is a behemoth.
It's got to be some crazy undertaking. So, are you doing all of the films? Do you have a plan? Are you including
so
not just the Skywalker saga? You doing Solo, Rogue One? You going everything?
Yeah, so the film schedule is I'm doing 1 through 9 with Solo and Rogue One. The next one after Revenge of the Sith is actually going to be Solo. So I'm going to go chronologically.
Nice, I like it.
I'm going to do Solo, Rogue One, then the originals, and the sequels.
Right.
After I complete 9, I'm probably going to do just the live action shows. Haven't decided on animated yet, but I definitely am going to do shows. I just don't know which one's next and if I'm doing only live action or whatnot. Because shows are just even more because there's so many episodes and like they're hour-longs themselves.
Clone Wars alone, it's got to give you several years.
I don't want to deal with the animated shows. Like I kind of just want to go into like these limited series.
Yeah,
right.
I'll just keep going and and I'll see where it takes me. I don't know. I'm gonna finish the first 9. Take a nice little break, couple months,
right?
Then go into this thing. So go into Age. Probably start with Kenobi, honestly, because by the time it'll be over by the time I get to it. So I'll probably start with Kenobi, and then just we'll see where we're at.
See where it goes. That's awesome, man. Well, I
Excellent.
wish
It's-
wish you
it's a lot of fun.
continued success with the project, and
Thank you.
and hope people follow along, and you just keep blowing past your goals and
Yeah, I
numbers
don't
and that
have
kind
any
of
more
stuff. It's
goals.
awesome. That's, I guess it's easy to blow past your goals when
I
you
just
don't
want,
have
like, at this
anymore.
point, I just
Right.
like I'll find a picture or shot, and I'll be like, I hope this one gets a lot of likes, and that's all I care about
Right.
anymore. I'm like, I hope this one's funny.
Right. I love it. I love it. Yes.
That's great, man. That's awesome. Well, thanks for catching us up a little bit. I
Thanks
do
for
have
checking
one
in.
new question that I started asking, I think the last episode, that I'm going to start asking all our new guests. If you were in the Star Wars universe, what do you think your affiliation would be?
Sith.
Now okay, never mind.
Okay, moving on. Thank you.
I shouldn't have even really had to ask that.
And
I kinda
no
knew the
follow-up
answer.
questions.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Good to know where you stand. I like that.
Yeah.
Just honesty. Just yeah. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff.
That answer
Well-
hasn't changed since I've been about 2.
Yeah.
Okay. All Sith all the time.
Your whole family's right. It's
pretty much.
you guys are in there. That's pretty awesome. I like the person with conviction. That's pretty good. So we kind of alluded to this already, but this episode is going to be mainly focused around Darth Maul. So
Woohoo!
the reason we're doing this is because, like the last episode, and if you haven't listened to that, go back. Alex was a fantastic guest, and we can't wait to have her back. But for this one, we're going to be focusing on Maul episodes that kind of start to tie into Kenobi's overall story and start to define some of Kenobi's story before Kenobi actually drops. So if last time we were looking at the Mandalore plot and his relationship with the Mandalorians and Satine in general, or specifically, this time we're looking at his relationship with Darth Maul. And of course that ties into Mandalore. But we really want to get down because when you think of Kenobi, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One is hello there, and the other is just Kenobi.
Oh, and that was saving the best for last because we got that rebel yell and rebels right there at the end. That was almost his death rattle. Yikes!
Yeah, pretty much. So let's start for this specific episode list. We started. It's a pretty broad, so we'll try to, I guess, define arcs rather than specific episodes because we don't want this to go on for 4 hours.
Yes.
I'm sure we could break it down for 4 hours, but eventually we have to sleep.
We could.
So
Gotta keep it tight. Gotta sell the sizzle, not the steak. That's what we say in the business.
Exactly. So the first arc we wanted to look at, and just this was just kind of even to give ourselves a little bit of primer to how Maul came back, what the motivations were there, and that was Clone Wars Season 4, Episode 22, and Season 5, Episode 1, kind of tied together a little bit. It was Savage, and we could have gone back a tiny bit further than this. But this is kind of where we started, right? Savage finds Maul, brings him back to Dathomir, gets repaired, and we find out kind of he's not dead. He got bisected, but he kept himself alive.
But again, how does he poop? Who needs to know? How does Darth Vader stay alive inside that suit? Yeah, this beginning arc is vicious, and if you want to dub it something, simply call it the bitch slapping of Obi Wan. The way these two go to town on this, I just watch it, and I was really paying attention again when he and Savage and Maul are having that first fight. The way he just clotheslines Kenobi, just wham, it looks like WWF from the 80s. It was Savage. It was Savage Savage, which is the town where our mutual podcast co-husband Todd lives in Minnesota. Savage. Yeah. So yeah, he went Savage on him. Yeah, that was pretty rough. But so they get their act together at the end of season 4, and they decide, you know what? You know how we're going to get Kenobi's attention? Blood-soaked rampage. We're just going to go from place to place. We're going to kill some innocent civilians. We're going to tape it, and we're going to tape it like it's the Joker and the Dark Knight, and then we're going to send it to the Jedi, and then he's going to be like, Kenobi, come find me. What? He's like, yeah, son. What? And then he does.
And that's it. So for me, I love. any kind of Night Sister lore. I've talked about that a few times. I hope Marin has a bigger spot in Jedi Fallen Order's sequel. We've seen some force powers in these episodes that we don't really see anywhere else, like being able to apparate basically into the green mist, and just I don't think that's shown up anywhere else, right?
No, yeah, you're right. They spring a leak, and all of a sudden you're a smelly cloud. Mm-hmm. You're leaking the green. You're looking the good green, the electric lettuce smoke.
And Robbie, you just said something there. It's magic.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is interesting because they are tapping into the Force, but you're right. They use it more like traditional magic, and you even hear like some spells being cast and some incantations and stuff. And I love that take on the Force. That
it's a really interesting twist on the lore.
Yeah,
right.
It's kind of different, but it's fun. It's believable. It makes sense, and it's not the generic stuff.
Absolutely. Another thing I thought watching these is anyone who can see Maul come back and be totally into that, but has a problem with somehow Palpatine returned, you're just silly.
Well, it's all very silly because it's like people who drill down to I like Star Wars more than like Star Trek. This is fantasy in space. It's wizards and pirates, and I mean, come on. So yeah, and it's magic. Because the Force is magic in its own. Exactly. It's magic, and magic can take on different forms. So yeah, of course, if you're bitching about Palpatine returning, and that's why you didn't like the Rise of Skywalker, whatever. That's not. If you have problems with that movie, that's not one that I really can see that you can pin. Because that's Palpatine, I hate to draw it back on the EU, but Palpatine always bounced back. Clones were a big part of Star Wars, obviously, for the last 20 years. Or really, it was even set up in Episode 4 when it mentioned that, my father wasn't a spice raider. He fought in the Clone Wars, the Clone War. So, and then really heavily defined with what all of that meant. So, most def.
I mean, my thing with Maul coming back is if Vader can come back, Maul had a much easier comeback.
Well, right, because he wasn't
torched.
He wasn't a crispy critter. Yeah, we just watched because we just cranked through watching the prequel trilogy again over the last couple of days, and I mean, seeing Anakin get turned into a tostada at the end of that film, just burned up, and he's like, I'm still so pissed off. Put me in a metal cocoon so I can go kill somebody.
The same way. It's like I don't understand. There's no way one's more believable than the other. Like especially just in the universe in general. But like, I think Maul is like a more believable like surviving. Like Vader got rushed to a hospital right away.
Right. Yeah, but he got cut in half.
And did it.
Yeah. Apparently, with magic you don't need your lower half, so you don't need. You don't need your excretory system or anything of that nature. So I guess maybe you don't eat. Maybe magic. Maybe hate keeps you alive. The hateful bisection
and it feeds you too.
Of Maul. Yes, exactly. You're eating that green whiff of smoke. That's your juice. That's pizza and beer right there. That's all you need to keep going.
So there are a couple more things that I noticed. I don't know if you guys noticed the same kind of things or if you have your own kind of notes on this, but I thought Obi Wan jumping in to take on Maul again shows that he's still at the start of this arc that we're going to go through. Spoiler, ending in Rebels. To me, he's still a little bit reckless, which again shows what we talked about in episode 2, that he's still that brother for Anakin rather than the father figure that he needed. Right. So I thought it was a good showcase of that. But I was kind of curious, and I wonder what your guys' take on this is. If Maul was so obsessed with revenge and just hellbent, for me, you kind of have to have that suspension of disbelief or something like that. And I guess they wrote it out of like, he wants him to suffer or whatever, like I suffered kind of a thing. But I don't know. I think if he wanted revenge so much, as soon as, like you said, they clothesline him, they knock him out, Obi-Wan is on his ass. You'd think he'd be Shish Kenobi at that point.
Right, like, but he wants to keep sticking it to him. Let's keep fucking with him.
I guess.
There's no doubt.
The thing with Maul you have to understand from his character perspective. Well, first and foremost, he's always been about revenge. It was a first revenge on the Jedi,
Right.
and then he singled it down to one at this point.
Mhm.
We know why. With him, that man went through what, 20 years of, I think it's 15 years. Don't quote me on it. A lot of years sitting in a trash heap thinking about this guy.
Right.
I think it would be almost like a waste of his time to just do it right away.
Right.
And I can understand at that point, like, just the thing with Maul is, even in episode 1, he always toys with his prey.
Right.
Like he
gloats like a cat slapping a mouse around. Boop, boop,
exactly.
boop. Yeah,
he gloats when he's swinging at the floor when Obi Wan's just hanging there.
Right.
Like he is one of the best fighters, but one of the worst at finishing a fight because he gets too wrapped up in like just that I'm better than you. He gets too cocky, and that's always
It's where the juice doesn't get the squeeze. It's too much.
I think he just has an obsession with just milking it all. Like he just making sure he's number one as long as you possibly can until you hit till you bite the bullet.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can buy that. I can understand that, right? He wants to play with them, like you said.
Right.
That makes more sense.
I mean, he's been doing that since episode 1. So
right. And again,
it fits to his character.
You're right. And it's 10, 12, 14 years of enjoyment of like, I've been sitting about this. And I'm not just going to be like, you might want to, chop them up into little pieces or whatever it is, do something really elaborate.
You think start taking off limbs and
stuff. It's going to be like, Saw, lock him in a room with a key and at the bottom of the jar of rusty nails or something. It's just, he's going to do something wacky.
Mm-hmm. I loved the line, one of Obi-Wan's lines, and you don't see Obi-Wan this outwardly cocky very often as this progresses, but there's a line in the season 5 episode 1. They're fighting with the pirates, and Hondo, who's always fantastic, is running around and everything, and but it's Obi-Wan and then the brothers, and Maul says, "You are no match for us both." And Obi-Wan just drops, "You are mistaken." Whoo, damn. Like, come on, man. That's so badass. Like, this is like peak Obi-Wan. Confidence is just ready to go.
Just sauce is flying off the rails.
That is what's driving the boat. Well, it's probably the adrenaline that's keeping him going and against insurmountable odds. Because look at how that same reckless arrogance doesn't serve these two brothers when Sidious catches up with them. Because holy shit, that was the capper to this deal.
Steals the show when we get with what we're seeing with this, and again, it's not until we get it, and that's at the end of season 5, right? Are we jumping ahead?
You're jumping a little bit. You're jumping a little bit ahead.
You're jumping.
Okay, so that's 14, 15, 16. Okay,
yeah, so this one ends. The brothers escape. Hondo and Obi-Wan go off. I love the line also. I cut one of them in half once and he survived, and Hondo just like, well, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Like, just I've seen some wacky shit. I'm a space pirate. That's interesting.
And what further that comes up again, in season 7 when they're speaking with Ahsoka. They said, well, I killed him once, but it's a pesky habit of not staying dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So anything else for, again, I figured we'd touch on this one a little bit. There was a couple of badass Obi-Wan moments, but
my thing is with the beginning of season 5. I think it's a cool Maul episode, but it really does well in tying and setting up the next arc.
Right. I think the next arc, and then certainly how we're going to bring it to close with season 7. I've watched that last season 7 arc a half dozen times. I love it so much.
That was me with the season 5 Maul arc, the Lawless arc.
14,
I was me before Siege came out. I just watched that constantly.
Before we move on to that arc, I do want to ask you guys, on this first arc, we met Hondo, the space pirates. Any chance we see Hondo space pirate stuff in the Kenobi show? What do you guys think?
Live action
on live action Hondo show.
I would for sure say, since we were treated to seeing Cad Bane in Boba Fett. that everything, and since we've seen live action Ahsoka, we've got Bo-Katan. I think that anything is on the table. I think that anything is on the table. There's definitely a good chance it's going to go down like that. So,
especially it looks like Obi-Wan's in some seedy spots, some underbelly kind of spots.
Right away, yeah, because we know
better to help him than his buddy Hondo.
I know, yeah, because right away he's going to rescue 10-year-old Princess Leia. That's the driving focus of at least a portion of the series. So, yeah, it's gonna be wild, son.
Robbie, what do you think? Over under on Hondo?
I think anything is possible, especially like with knowing the Clone Wars characters in these live action shows. I think anything is possible. I don't think it's going to happen in Kenobi per se, but man, will I be happy if it does. Like, that's all I want. I am such a huge Hondo fan. Like, I'll take him whatever you want to give him to me. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I'll be stoked if it does.
We got some good teases falling out of that Vanity Fair article, and I was looking for a copy of that Vanity Fair issue that the Star Wars issue just came out. Couldn't find it, so April ordered me one from Amazon, so I will. Because apparently it's very hard to get your hands on. So I will have it, but Diego Luna goes on and on about his show and the fact that it's going to be the most number of episodes of any of the shows that have been out so far. It's going to be 13 as opposed to the 8 or 10 that was Mando and just the 6 out of these two. So, yeah. So
bring back 13 episode hour-long shows.
Well, and that'll give us a chance to, and if we know that Cassian purely operates on the fringe because of the nature of the intelligence business that he's in, I think you'll see a lot of these, ne'er-do-well characters without a doubt. So anyway, not to put the cart before the horse.
Could be very cool. It was a good article. I read that. It is available if you want to read it and you don't want to wait. If you have an Apple News subscription, Vanity Fair is included in that. So I just read it on my iPad. Don't have the physical collector's copy, but I think that's an Annie Leibovitz photograph. So I think I am going to frame that and slap it on the wall somewhere. Oh hell yeah, it's worthwhile to have.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yes. Let's talk about the meat.
So this again, we're covering the second arc, Mandalorian shenanigans, whatever you want to call this. I don't know if you guys ever catch your name. That's just I kind of dubbed it.
Mando Shando.
So this is season 5 of Clone Wars, episodes 14, 15, and ending with the Lawless episode 16. Robbie, you love this. Lead us in. Talk about why this is important, man.
This is, first of all, my favorite, any Maul story, so if you break the arcs into stories or whatever, episode 1, comics, Rebels, whatever. This is my favorite, just little Maul, section of his life. Basically, he just wants an empire at this point, and someone to rule with him with it, which we'll get into more, but I'll talk on that with Twin Sons. But, yeah, he wants an empire. He wants this power, and what better way to do that to draw out Kenobi with this whole army behind him. Vizsla rescues him, gives him new legs, very nice upgrade. And they just kind of go around trying to grab all of the crime syndicates that they can to form this army and take over Mandalore. And you grab Mandalore, you get Satine, you get Obi Wan.
Yeah.
And what better way to get some revenge than on the one you love?
Yeah. So many layers to this. I loved the contrast watching this so soon after watching Boba Fett. Where I love the contrast of different ways to build a criminal empire, and Maul basically had no problem gunning anyone down, or at least sending his brother to. And then we saw the very opposite contrast of the gentleman, crime boss or whatever with Boba Fett. So two very different takes, and I loved
the gentleman crime boss,
whatever you want,
like Gentleman Ghost from the old DC comics. I love that shit with Black Sun, and I love Black Sun. Let's not forget that this fine gentleman, we're hoping someday, will return to canon. So I love Black Sun, but I love that how he just goes in there and they're like, kill these guys, take his ship, and they're just like, yeah, I think instead I'm gonna pop out my double-headed lightsaber and behead every motherfucker in the room in one fell stroke. It was and then anybody who was left after that is like,
That's why the Sith are the best, yo. They do this stuff like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's like in the Untouchables and De Niro and the guy with the baseball bat walking around, as Al Capone walking around the banquet table. It was the same shit. Oh, as a team. Oh, my God.
I do love how through this arc we see Maul really being, I'd say, close to the best student that Palpatine had, because he was such a tactician. And we saw with Vader, Palpatine kind of learned, you need a puppet. You don't need someone who's going to try to replace you. And we see that as Palpatine a little bit later in this arc calls out Maul and Savage, and especially Maul, and saying you're competition. And we see that here, why he thinks he's competition, because everyone else is playing checkers, or like, for God's sake, some of the people are playing like snakes and ladders, and he is 100% playing like space chess.
Yeah, you got some people
steps ahead of everyone.
Connect Four and Mousetrap in this section.
Yeah, right. Like he's seeing the biggest picture, but his obsession with Kenobi is
right.
Just.
I think what's funny with Maul is he is only just like any Jedi. Like he is a pure Sith, just like any Jedi is a pure Jedi, because he was taken at birth,
right,
more or less. So he's only ever grown up underneath Palpatine's watchful eye, instilling the Sith in from just the absolute earliest possible point. And that kind of just follows Maul throughout his whole life, because he grew up with these plans being not only just taught upon, but coming into motion. Mm-hmm. So like watching the pieces be placed as he's like a 5 or 6 year old. Mm-hmm. Like this man has seen it all, and it really just it comes around. It comes up more later on in his life, but just he's so smart and so good at what he does that it gets to his own head, and it's always his undoing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's but yeah, tactically he's right up there. And you're right. Like it's because from birth he was raised to be right up there with Palpatine.
It's all he's ever done.
Yeah.
He's known. Yeah, he is what you made him in, which ended up being his undoing. Like I said, that last, when we jump forward to the conclusion of how all this came together, is that, Maul figures out, well, the Mandalorians are going to kill me, so what I really need to do, and this really set things in motion. But for what we saw with Bo-Katan's evolution, she was with them. She said an outsider can't rule Mandalore, and so she and then she and Maul are going to be on the outs. But she wants that Darksaber, and that's what's carrying her to this day. And we still don't know how Maul lost it. We don't know how he loses Crimson Dawn. We don't know any of that stuff. Putting the cart before the horse, and how Moff Gideon gets his hands on it. But the Darksaber is a fascinating weapon, and the duel between Pre Vizsla and Maul in this was great. The only thing that that's a beaut.
I've got Maul saber up here too.
The only saber that I have, and Mark, I need to talk to you about getting my hands on Return of the Jedi Luke. That's the one that I need. The wife and I are going to do Ahsoka and Jedi Luke, a la the. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, a la the as they appear in the Mandalorian. We're going to do that. So a little bit further on down the road here, but I'm naturally getting off course. But
it's okay. I love lightsaber hilts.
Yes, but no, it was the only thing I disliked about that fight, and where it felt cartoonish, is when they got to the hand-to-hand combat part. They did the telegraphing a punch. Telegraphing a punch, and I don't know. I just felt like, okay, it's a kid show, and yeah, you got to telegraph something like when he finally beheads him. Yeah, you can't really show that. Plus, a Star Wars film or TV show wouldn't really show something like that. They kind of cut around it, but it was the fake. It was like the fake punching that I really made it feel like cartoonish. But other than that, some of the violence is pretty gritty. And yeah, that was a great fight. But like I said, what capped it for me in this entire arc is when Sidious shows up, and Maul's like, Master, I did all this for you. He says, You have done well, my apprentice. That's why I'm so disappointed that you are deceiving me. And then he just starts kicking the shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
And then, you're right. Then he finally, the fight is really at its lowest, its endest point when he runs Savage through and chucks him on the ground. And then,
that move is so beautiful.
And then the
backwards
green,
spin.
the green mist just starts coming out of him. And to see Maul, then Maul tries to keep fighting, but Sidious is he's an old man, but he's just so beyond unstoppable. Obviously, Dooku was also old by human standards, but no one had the power on the dark side the way that Sidious did. So to watch him whip the shit out of Maul and then to see Maul beg for his life. Wow.
Yeah.
That was... He said,
that was
don't
definitely
worry.
His lowest point.
He says, don't worry, I'm not going to kill you. And then we never found out what happened after that.
Yeah.
They did write it into a comic, but
a canonical comic, yes, I'm assuming.
Well, now it was written by DC in like 2014 or I don't know.
Dark Horse.
Yeah,
so it's not.
It's not. It's not technically, but it also kind of is. It's really on like the weird border.
So I mean, because we get Maul. This is the
cover for it.
We get Maul from here to the next arc. And then we see he's displaced from Mandalore,
he's freed by Mandos.
But then we don't end up seeing, end of episode 3 into Solo, where we see him like, I'm Crimson Dawn and I'm sitting in this this and that. And then we go all the way forward to Rebels. We don't really know how he survives Sidious, rises to the head of Crimson Dawn, who we've never heard of before, and then ends up basically homeless in the desert, and then what his final confrontation with Kenobi. So I won't get ahead of that, but the fight with Sidious that made the arc for me. I would almost say it made all of this for me, but the season 7 series ending arc is some of the finest Star Wars I've ever seen.
That's probably my favorite lightsaber fight in Clone Wars, honestly.
Yeah, it was remarkable.
Before we move on to season 7, I do want to tie this back into Kenobi. So, couple of things that I want to ask you guys about, or at least bring up the things that I noticed. Obi Wan instantly going rogue the second he heard Mandalore was in trouble. He snuck out and kind of snuck on, stole one of Anakin's ships, I believe, was this one, right? The clunky old
the Twilight,
kind of shows, and this is shown a few times, and Robbie, you brought this up earlier about, let's set a trap, let's set everything on fire. I think Charlie, I think you said something about that too, like just kill everyone and like tape it and send it, and
right.
They'll come. And that's again echoed in the trailer for this live action Kenobi show. The secret to hunting Jedi is patience, right? Like they can't help but do the right thing,
right?
And that's when we catch them. So we see that kind of tactic being played even this far back, season 5 or earlier of Clone Wars. And that's the tactic. And it just keeps working. We saw it with Obi-Wan. We saw it with Cal Kestis not letting his friend die.
I want to bounce off of that too.
Yeah,
I have a quote it's from Twin Sons. So but it doesn't really it touches on Kenobi really well. It's so when Ezra's in the sandstorm, he goes, Maul reaches out to Ezra and goes, draw him out. Your pain, your sorrow, it calls to him.
Right.
It's just that's the whole Kenobi theme at this point.
It's like a hummingbird feeder. That the vulnerability of emotion. So I know I'm somewhat of an empath myself. When people are in pain, if I can help someone, I get sucked into it sometimes to my own peril. So I understand that. I really do.
Another thing I noticed with this is each of the characters starting here, each of the 3 that had to stick together, if they stuck together, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, everything will be fine. And we find out that they go their separate ways and everything is decidedly not fine. That's
one way to put it.
Every single one of them had an opportunity to go bad. And it was presented to them very, very clearly. And if Satine's death didn't bring Obi-Wan to the dark side, what will? And so you see Satine killed in front of Kenobi. This is a woman that he loved, and she said, "I will always love you. I have always loved you." He clearly felt the same.
All that was missing was Whitney Houston.
And we talked about it on the last episode of, if you had said the word, I would have left the order. So we know he loves her too. And people can understand Anakin going to the dark side to try to save Padme.
Right.
Obi-Wan didn't falter. He didn't flinch. He saw this happen in front, and he didn't for a second go to the dark side. He stuck his ground. He
like
stayed as a Jedi.
The famous line of the Joker to Batman. It says, Batman is a Joker if he had just that one bad day. Like just that nudge. And you're right. And it was a difference in character between Obi-Wan and Anakin. You know, Obi-Wan being the pure, the from birth, the, you know, steeped in Jedi lore and thought process, and Anakin coming in as a slaved 10-year-old ripped away from his mother, angry enough to feel it, and then turning inward and being he was made to be a Sith. So yes, that was it was not too hard to push him out of the limelight. It's like a Belloc and Indy in the bar in Raiders. It would only take a push to make you like me, to push you out of the light.
So then in part 2 of, I'm going to keep, because I think season 7 kind of picks this up, right? We still see Mandalore. We still see the repercussions of this, like, you know, 14, 15, 16, season 5 kind of brought over to season 7, which is like, when we're watching it, we kind of know what we're watching. But if you have to wait 2 seasons to see this,
right?
Like, shit, what's going on?
Right.
But we see that, and I'm going to jump ahead a tiny bit because Ahsoka was given that choice to go dark side with Maul. Robby, you already said before, he's just looking for an apprentice. He's looking for someone to share it with. Savage got taken from him.
Right.
He wants Ahsoka. She was kicked out of the order. She was accused of stuff that she didn't do. She was dismissed. Okay, civilian. This isn't for you, right? Like this, like for anyone to feel betrayed, again, like Anakin did, by the order, for her not to instantly jump on the dark side, there is, again, 2 out of the 3 didn't topple. They didn't fall. Anakin did. So this is just showing, I think, just, I don't know, twisting that knife into Anakin, like, he was weak. He had a bad moment. Others were presented with very, very similar moments in their lives and had just as much reason to fall to the dark side, and they didn't. So I love that shows Kenobi's kind of resolve in the Jedi Order, and I again noticed it with Ahsoka, and just bringing it up for the sake of bringing it up. But yeah, let's move on to that second part of this arc. Season 7, episode 9, episode 10, and episode 11. Holy shit. I have to say, season 7, episode 9, one of my favorite opening sequences in all of Star Wars. Like the bridge scene, Obi-Wan and the crew are like just pinned down.
Right.
Or the troops are pinned down. Obi-Wan comes down and kind of, you think he's going to save the day. Then he kind of gets pinned down. And then Anakin just kind of like slowly saunters up, like, what are you guys doing? Like, there's only 1,000 droids up there. Like, come on. Like, that is
peak Star
Anakin,
Wars.
Peak Obi-Wan, so badass. Peak Star Wars.
Right.
The R2 and the clones kind of hanging out underneath. And this is like, that whole scene is just Star Wars for me. It's so good. And you just see again how strong that bond between Obi-Wan and Anakin is, and how much I think season 7 really exemplifies why Anakin's fall broke him. And this is one of those scenes that it's like so much fun to watch. You get caught up, you forget that Anakin very soon after this is going to go down that path. And that's one of those heartbreaking things for me. And you see why Kenobi just cut himself off, and why it was just, he's out in the desert and he's hiding. I think you see that lead in this episode and the further ones, because it shows their friendship so much and their brotherhood so much. It's so perfect. Also, Ahsoka in this is she's just Captain America. She's in the shadow. She's doing things. She doesn't need a jetpack jumping out of the friggin' planes. Like she's just.
She has her. I said this to April and I watched this the other day. I said she has her Michael Bay moment in this, as she rides that ship down, and she's like, she cuts the guy loose, and he's like, "Thanks, Captain Boo." And she rides it down, and she's like, "Rah!" And then she lands, and it goes kaboom, and she's like, "Meow," and we're like, "Yes." You know, you get the
iconic. It's so good.
Everybody, 10, 10, 9, 5, 10. 9-5.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a great episode for those three main characters. But this arc again, we see Maul. We see some shit happening with again Mandalore and why the three get broken up and all that kind of stuff. And we see really close moments like Ahsoka not saying anything to Yoda about what Maul has revealed, because Maul knows, again, playing everything. Space chess. He knows everything.
Right.
He has literally no resources to stop it, but if he had the resources, it's over.
The resources is like you said, like it's his mind, his dirty, devious, strategic brain. And which obviously he still gets out of here and goes on to do great things with, because he takes, getting the boot from Mandalore into running another criminal syndicate and then screwing that up as well.
That's what he does best.
Yeah, right. He does. He's great at the acquisition, not great at the.
He's great. Like even like the acquisition of a win in a fight. Like he'll get to the win and just be like, never mind, you can have it.
Yeah, exactly. Blow it out.
Yeah. Robby, as the Maul expert, why is this so important? Is there anything else to add to why this is important for Maul and
I just think it kind of hammers home the whole needing an apprentice thing before Ezra takes it over the edge. It could definitely like shows his motivations and just like how aware he is of everything, even after being so out of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for him like trying to like reinforce layers. I just think in terms of actually Maul stuff, gives you some great action, but like I still think like the episode Revenge, I think the previous arc, and I think Twin Sons do more for Maul's story than these episodes.
Yeah.
But does he do it? He steals the show every time, so I can't complain.
I love I was hoping for Kenobi. Why are you here? Yeah, just you see his obsession.
Like everything just gets hammered back home. Like, well, who is this character? What does he want? He wants revenge on Kenobi, and he wants an apprentice, and it's all just hammered right here.
Right. Yeah. True that.
Yeah.
True that. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, yeah, let's jump into that last bit. Actually, first, just from this arc, so we see a couple of things. Maul not exactly showcased strong, but there are a couple of things, especially season 7, episode 11. We see Rex fighting Order 66.
That's my favorite episode.
You know what happens.
Right.
With that, it is heartbreaking to watch. Luckily, Ahsoka breaks him out of the Order 66, the inhibitor chip, all that kind of stuff. But watching him shake, and none of the other clones really did that. It was just instant. Yeah. So it shows how strong Rex is. Do you think there is a possibility to see Rex or Ahsoka
in Kenobi? Absolutely.
Flashbacks.
Well, we know that Rex ends up with Wolf and Gregor on that planet where they find him in Rebels.
I don't think we'll see him present day. Well, we might see Cody present day, but we won't see Rex. I think we'll see Rex in a flashback, and I think we'll see Cody.
I think Cody has been danced around. The beauty of Tamara Morrison is he can appear as any of these characters that we're talking about: Boba, Jango, any clone,
and he's like the right age. Realistically, for what they would be.
And the thing is about the clones is that their ages are wonky anyway. You know, they age fast, they age slow. He could be any of the Bad Batch characters. They could find a way to insert those into any of these in-betweener shows.
Well,
you know what I mean? So, seeing the dancing back and forth between the live action and the animated characters being shared, I love it. I absolutely love it, and I hope the same thing happens in Star Trek. Because we have a great animated show in Star Trek called Lower Decks, which you've got to get around to watching an episode. Mark, we talked about this.
I do.
All right, because it's fun. It's the fun Star Trek. Then it would be cool to see some sharing of that. And I got to meet several of those cast members in Chicago last month, including Jerry O'Connell, which was my 15 minutes of fame, awesome. Ending up on his Instagram. So, but anyway. God, the closing moments of this arc, finding it some number, after they ride the ship to the ground and Ahsoka leaves one of her sabers behind to fake her own death, as it were. Mm-hmm. To see Anakin, now the ensconced in armor Lord Vader, pick the saber up and ignite it, and then the crow flies. The owl, is it the owl that always flies? I felt like it was the owl, though it seemed more just like a bird circling. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to seem that
Morai,
it was
Moray. I don't know what it's.
Yeah,
it's Morai.
To know that she was present, that she was there wherever it is that she was, because she was. There's a great novel, and it was funny because April read it and I didn't. There's a great Ahsoka novel that's canonical. That covers kind of her return, her emergence into the rebellion, into becoming Fulcrum, because that's my wife's favorite Star Wars character right there is Ahsoka. So I love watching Ahsoka stuff with her.
I met Ashley Eckstein on Saturday.
Oh, fantastic. What was the show?
I went to MegaCon.
Oh, awesome. Yes, I heard.
First con I ever went to. It was cool.
Wow. Really cool. I would love to do a con where I could get an autograph and a photo session for April and her, because it'd be awesome. I've heard she's awesome.
Super nice. She's awesome. Yeah.
So sweet. Cool. Good deal. So that was, I could watch this 4-episode arc 50 times in a row. It's my favorite animated.
It feels like a movie and it plays like a movie too.
Yeah. 4 episodes, and it does runtime. It does really add right up. So it's pretty perfect. Mm-hmm. And it sets in motion so many things that we're still dealing with, like The Mandalorian.
And it's just entertaining. It's just really good storytelling.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Like all the action,
deep moments, there's some action moments. It's got everything.
Right. The heartbreak of 66. All right, Mark, are we ready to move this thing into the final countdown?
Yeah, let's finish up with I guess Kenobi versus Maul. This is post Kenobi series, though. So this is happening.
The shortest fight ever. Yeah, we're getting this now. Rebels from start to finish is anywhere between 3 years and then a handful of weeks before A New Hope. So what they call BBY, before the Battle of Yavin. So this would be Obi Wan just as we're meeting him as Alec Guinness. So he's transitioned. He's, apparently that from year 10 to year 19 on Tatooine is where everybody gets dramatically old, because it happens.
The sun kicks in.
That's where it happens to Kenobi, it happens to Beru, and it happens to Owen as well. They just go from looking kind of normal to looking like,
they've seen their better days.
They're kind of the Russian potato wife. You know what I mean? Just bad news.
So for this, we see a more, I guess, reserved Jedi version of Kenobi. Since this happens post Kenobi, I don't know if we want to focus too much on the story aspects and more of the character, and where do we think, which Kenobi do we think we're going to meet in the live action series? Is it going to be closer to this, or is what's going to happen in the Kenobi series going to lead to how calm and cool this Kenobi
I think he's going to definitely lead into the calm and cool. I think he's going to start off kind of like closer to Anakin than the Obi-Wan we know.
Okay.
Like in terms of just like how like kind of distraught and messed up he is. I think he's still trying to deal with it, but I think he's past like the core of the trauma and everything, I would think. And I think he's just about to cross that bridge into ultimate like peace with the Jedi and everything. I think he's right, like, because at the time in Rebels, he's there. He's made it. I think he's about to find his first footsteps into understanding like his true, like, everything is okay.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, seeing him closer to Anakin. That's
Right.
going to be interesting.
I think there's a good chance that this will be the bridge, also kind of be the bridge between what was and kind of what is to become. But because again, this is 10 years in, so this is halfway essentially between episodes 3 and 4 that we're going to see a movement in that direction, but potentially, that he's not all the way become, the elder statesman, Mr. Mello. They still got a little bit of vim and vigor in him. But I'm real curious to see when we get there what the Darth Vader character is going to be like, because we know that that's going to be a huge component of Kenobi, or at least they're heavily leaning into it. That could be part of the marketing, which I would totally understand. But regardless, oh my God.
Do you think they're going to fill in any of Maul's story in this? We've had
I
the
think
precedent
Maul
before.
might have like a cameo in terms of like a flashback, but I don't think it'll actually be like too big onto Maul's, or it's maybe like a representation of something in Kenobi's life. But I think if anything, the only time we would see him is maybe right when Satine is killed, and they show that again if possible. Okay. Other than that, I don't think he belongs in the show, except in a flashback scenario.
Yeah, I wouldn't really see it, because at this time is when this is 2 or 3 years before the events of the latter half of the Solo film. But it's right around the time of the first part of the Solo film. So when Han is young, and so it's when Kira.
So Maul is way out there.
Yeah. He's doing the Crimson Dawn thing at this time, and I don't really see that there would necessarily be connectivity, but you never can tell with such with this big tapestry of characters that everything is so interweaving in this busy galaxy of theirs. You don't know what you're going to see.
And see, that's my thought exactly is kind of the opposite, actually, is like I said before, we see Obi-Wan kind of delving in these underbelly type things. So where I don't think Kenobi and Maul are going to interact exactly, I could picture either a cameo or potentially a full episode kind of showing where Maul is at this point. And we've seen episodes of Boba Fett that go off and follow Mando, and it could be someone sees Kenobi still alive, and it's like, find out what happens with Crimson Dawn and where he is at this point, and maybe start to show the downfall of Maul and how he lost Crimson Dawn and kind of ended up where he is in Rebels and where we see him.
I think a better show for that would be Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And Bad Batch, of course, being really at the beginning of the end.
If they give him like a little time jump or whatever.
Yeah, I could see a 10-year time jump in the Bad Batch.
Not even like if you give him like a 3-4 year time jump, I think
right in there. But even anywhere 3 to 5 to even 10 years, Omega becomes a young adult, and so you don't have the obnoxious kid dragging along, which is really clunky to storytelling in general. Now she's grown. And they're out there doing their thing, but they're they're the A-team basically, without all the funny armor. Now they're just regular dudes out there doing their thing. So I don't know. Yeah, do we get a date on? Do you think we'll get a Bad Batch date at Celebration?
Oh, I don't think we might not get a date. We might get like a summer or like a fall or something.
I'm getting a feeling. When did we get the first season of that? Was it summer? Last summer?
We got the. I think it aired May 4th of last year.
Oh, okay. So,
but it was like 20 something episodes, so it went through half of the summer or whatever.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I just rewatched the first segment of that, and I really loved it. But Mark and I covered that as we were doing the show, and it definitely had its ups and downs. So
for sure.
But anyway, so Mark, please take us through the final countdown.
Well, yeah, I think that about covers it. Man, I was kind of worried about the time going a little long for this, but I think we've covered a lot of the important stuff. So do you? Again, is there anything that sticks out from this whole Maul arc that you guys think we'll see repercussions of in Kenobi? Anything that we haven't covered?
Satine dying.
That's the great stuff. I think maybe not potentially touching Kenobi, but there was a certain nobility in the thought process of Maul's death, and he said this. what you're protecting is he the one? He says, yes,
Yep.
he's the one. He says, he will avenge us.
Right.
I want to see how we get to that Kenobi mindset of, oh, Luke is the guy.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to see what makes him so convinced, because everyone in the audience knows that it's still Anakin and everything, even at this point in Rebels. But Obi Wan is so he's so bought into the whole aspect, and even he knows at that point in his life, he is the only friend Maul has really ever had up until that point. In that one moment, which is Maul is driven by revenge in Kenobi, but I think he also is just wants someone by his side.
He's
never really had anything.
It's a thin line.
He had nothing his whole life.
It's a thin line between fries and shakes. No, it's between love and hate. There's no doubt about it. Oh, man, oh, man.
I think we'll see how we get to that end of Rebels kind of Kenobi mentality.
For sure. Well, we only have a few days from when this episode drops.
Oh, my gosh. I can't wait.
We get the first 2 episodes of Kenobi the following Friday.
I'll be up till 5 in the morning, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun day for sure. Robbie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, it's been great. I love the
awesome.
last time. This time
middle finger.
You guys are giving me stuff that I like to talk about.
Yeah.
Anytime. We're happy to have you back for anything, but especially if Maul comes up, you're the guy I think of. Tell people where they can find you and plug anything else you're up to.
Yeah, sure thing. You can find me on Twitter at Robby_Weidemann. You can also, if you don't want to remember that or try and spell my last name, you can just go find at Star Wars Shot by Shot, SW, and then Shot by Shot.
I found you. I'm following you. I got you, dude.
There we go. See,
links will be in the show notes. Too.
It's easier to find me through Shot by Shot because my name is in the bio. You can if you find Shot by Shot or me, you will find the other one because it's in both bios, just the alternate account.
Excellent.
So, but yeah, those are the two. Shot by Shot is currently about to just this week and forward is just nonstop fun with Revenge of the Sith. So it's good parts of the film just consistently. So we're gonna have a good time.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing more shots from Reds. That's you like you said, you're just getting into pure awesomeness there. So that's fantastic. Charlie, tell people where they can find us.
Well, as always, I can be found over on Twitter at the C3. Spell it out. I also do a lot of the social media posting over at our Secret Friends Unite Facebook groups. And of course, the wife and I run the West Michigan chapter of the International Star Trek Fan Club, the USS Grand Petoskey. You can find us at our website and at all socials by that name. And yeah, that's me. What about you, Markety Mark?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much anywhere as _Canardian. And that's kind of where I am. Although I haven't been super active on TikTok lately, but I'm going to try to get back there and make some stuff.
You know what's really great about the Canardian? Obviously, it's Canadian, and then you got the nerd and everything. But it also doubles up because you get the CA, and then the nerd is all caps.
Yes.
So you still get the Canada abbreviation. It's got a lot going on. It's the same thing, different
poetry.
Ways. I like it.
Thanks, buddy.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
Well, friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring. To keep on trucking.
May the force be with you. Rex, play us out. This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.